I am so thrilled to introduce our first two speakers, Allison and Michelle from Montana State University. That's your introduction. They're going to be short. Feel free to say a little bit more about yourselves if you want to in your talk, and the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Gail. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our talk entitled The MSU Extension Mental Wellness Conversation Curriculum, an innovative approach to promoting stress management and mental health in agricultural communities. So my name is Dr. Michelle Grokey, and I'm excited to present this curriculum together with my colleague, Dr. Allison Brennan. Just a little bit about us. We are both professors and extension specialists at Montana State University. I serve as the health and wellness specialist, while Allison serves as the mental health specialist. We have worked on a variety of projects together over the years, including opioid misuse prevention and farm stress management.
The mental wellness conversation curriculum is part of our work to address farm and ranch stress in Montana. In 2019, we received a grant from the Montana Healthcare Foundation to support our first major project, the Montana Ag Producer Stress Resource Clearinghouse, which we launched in 2020. Another idea that we had around this same time was to create a curriculum to use in relatively informal settings to destigmatize discussions about mental health. We knew this was going to require substantial funding, so we were thrilled when Don McMorrin and his team at Washington State University invited us to be collaborators on the Western Regional Agricultural Stress Assistance Program, or RASAP. Note that the P now stands for partnership rather than program. Under RASAP, we conducted survey research with ag producers and workers about their sources of stress and specific topics and types of resources to help them manage their stress. This research informed the development of the MWCC, which was published in summer 2023. We'll be giving you more details momentarily, but for now, you should know that the MWCC consists of a customized deck of standard playing cards and a companion facilitator's guide.
So on this slide here, you'll see the four main project goals we had for the MWCC. So first, we want to encourage conversation at the community level about mental wellness. And by doing so, hopefully destigmatize discussion about mental health. Another goal of this curriculum is to capitalize on the strong social networks that we know exist in rural communities. We also hope that this curriculum can serve as an accessible, research-based resource for community volunteers who want to become mental wellness champions in their community.
We trained the first cohort of facilitators in July 2023 in a pilot focused on Montana community volunteers. In December of the same year, we trained a cohort of RASAP collaborators with an added component, a half-day workshop focused on adapting the curriculum for use by other organizations in other states. As you can see in the timeline, we have trained 2 facilitator cohorts annually for a total of 61 trained facilitators across 6 separate trainings. 3 of these trainings have been in person and 3 have been virtual. As previously noted, one of the major components of the MWCC is the customized deck of standard playing cards. Each card rank corresponds to a distinct wellness theme, and each suit corresponds to a specific type of information. Within each wellness theme, the cards explain the significance of the theme for mental health, provide practical suggestions for incorporating the theme in daily life, direct consumers to additional helpful resources, and aim to evoke conversation through focused discussion questions. The content contained in the deck of cards promotes research-based strategies for stress management and positive coping behaviors.
All right, so here is an example of one of the card themes, the twos. The positive coping strategy taught by these cards is physical activity. So we tried to add some puns throughout the curriculum. So for example, we made physical activity the twos because the current US physical activity guidelines recommend 22 minutes of cardio each day and 2 days of strength training per week. And you'll see that that information is also on the Hearts card, which are the cards with tips or suggestions on them. The club cards pose a discussion question. So here for the twos, how would you incorporate all three types of physical activity, so those would be aerobic, strength training, and mobility balance, into your weekly routine? The spades card are the facts. Here we state 3 research-based benefits of physical activity. And lastly, the diamonds are resources. This QR code takes you directly to a Monk Guide about the benefits of physical activity. And Monk Guides are Montana State University Extension published resources available for free to the public. Here is an example of what the facilitator manual looks like. The manual consists of a plethora of research-based information about the various coping strategies included in the curriculum and was created as a tool for trained facilitators to help them further explain concepts, add context, and have easy access to research to support the idea on the cards. Here in the Move section, you'll see we provide information about both the immediate and long-term benefits of physical activity, as well as explain how it can easily be paired with other aspects of wellness, like social connection. On the right side of the slide, you see an example of the Monk Guide that I was talking about. This one includes links to an at-home physical activity workout, as well as how-to videos. And these Monk Guides are included throughout the facilitator manual.
To expand our reach and make this important health promotion information accessible to a broad range of audiences, in January 2025, we started producing a video series with a 5 to 10 minute video for each of the wellness themes. These videos are available on our Montana Ag Producer Stress Resource Clearinghouse, and we will share the link in the chat. Many of these videos were recorded by MSU Extension agents who are trained in the MWCC. We recognize and thank them for their contributions. To date, there's a pretty impressive list of organizations that have modified and co-branded the MWCC. These organizations are located across the Western region, as well as in the North Central region and nationally. We originally intended for the MWCC to be used in the context of informal gatherings like backyard barbecues or coffee meetups. But we kept the delivery aspect flexible and open to what facilitators thought might work. Some of the creative ways it has been used is by integrating the cards within cooking and food preservation classes, during strong people physical activity sessions, by mental health providers in their sessions with clients, at a school-wide wellness event for K-12 educators, and in recurring virtual sessions of an existing stress management group. Finally, Gail Gradup at University of Arizona, who was instrumental in organizing these lightning sessions, has incorporated MWCC training into her Extension Master Wellness Volunteer Program.
So far, we've done a great job evaluating the impact of the facilitator trainings. This past summer, we published an article in the Journal of Extension detailing our findings. At the moment, we're focused on evaluating the impact of the cards on the end user, in other words, those attending the hosted conversations in their communities. We're happy to report that with more funding from a USDA grant, we recently hired a program manager for the curriculum. Jennifer is currently liaising with all trained facilitators and has recently established a community advisory board to begin adapting this curriculum for use by adolescents. We have also expanded via the work of a colleague of ours, Esmeralda Mandujano, who is working to modify the MWCC for use in Spanish by Latino ag workers. The idea here is that community health workers would serve as the trained facilitators.
If this curriculum interests you and you would like to participate in an upcoming virtual facilitator training, We have two separate opportunities scheduled this winter, one in the morning on January 12th and one in the afternoon on February 20th. To register, please contact our program manager, Jennifer Munter, at the email address listed on the slide. Thanks everyone for tuning into our talk.
And I'll post those links Allison mentioned in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have a quick question? How can, outside of attending a training, how can this be adopted by a university?
That is a great question, Rachel. So we worked with Lori Mayer, who's a graphic designer, and we could work with your university to customize content. For example, if your university has the equivalent of some of those Mont guides or would like to customize that facilitator guide, content-wise, we can do that. We can also work with you to co-brand, we have beef cattle on the back of all the cards. If something would resonate more with your audience in your state, we can work on swapping images. So just let us know and we're happy to share the files. Yeah, Allison's showing the outside of the deck of cards. And right now, great question. We have funding in our USDA grant to help other states adapt it. So fingers crossed, we can keep funding the adaptation of other states' curriculum. So far we can. So if you're interested, maybe we could do it soon because right now we have funding. I don't know if we will in 2 years.
You may have mentioned this, Michelle, already, but what is the length of the program and is it adaptable in terms of length as well, in that we do 1 sessions or 2 sessions depending on the audience needs, and attrition is always a concern. So I just wondered.
Allison, do you
how
want to
you'll
answer
address
that one? I mean, I can keep going, but we both know the answers to all these, so we can split.
So the facilitator training that we do, oh man, we've done anywhere from 3.5 hours to 2.5 days. It just kind of depends on, what you have time for. One of the things that we had started with that we have now separated out is when we first started doing these facilitator trainings, we required everybody to participate in mental health first aid training that I instructed. And we used to include that as part of the training. Now, because there are some folks who are already trained in that, and then also it was just a lot of information at one time, we usually do that as a follow-up to the mental wellness conversation curriculum. And then,
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead about the.
Well, and then I was going to say, then in terms of like the expense associated with it, the deck of cards, we have found a printing source where they're about $10 per pack. It's gone up significantly in the last year. And then I think the facilitator manual, Michelle, you might have to, I don't remember how much the facilitator manual printing costs.
Yeah, it varies really depending on how many you buy at once, between like 8 to 18, honestly, depending on quantity. And in terms of program delivery, once you're trained as a facilitator, that is really customizable. We've had folks go over one positive coping strategy with every virtual meeting with an existing group. We've had other agents say, let's have a backyard barbecue and host 1 hour conversation. That is really up to the person who gets trained how it best works. Realizing, like you mentioned, attrition issues and, so it's very customizable. We just want people to use it and learn from it and have it help in some way.
Sorry,
I'm
one
gonna
more
just
question, and
hold.
I'll be quiet.
Okay, I'm
Is
just
it
gonna hold us
virtually? Is there an
actually.
adaptation for virtual ways of doing it?
Can I have you all answer that in the chat so we can move on because we're gonna cut into everyone
Yes.
else's time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Allison and Michelle. Seems like we had a really great response from your amazing curriculum that you developed. Up next is Christina from Georgia. And are you on? Oh, there you are. Hey, Christina. Do you want
Hey,
do you want me to share your slideshow or would you rather do it?
I can share it as long as this
Okay,
works okay. Y'all see
perfect.
that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for letting me be here today. I'm very excited to share with y'all a program called Passport to a Healthier You. My name is Christina Garner, and I am from the University of Georgia. I'm the Georgia 4-H Health and Wellness Specialist. I'm still fairly new in my position. I'll probably be saying that for a while, but I've only been in this position for about a year. And prior to that, I was a county agent here in Georgia. My colleague, Ashley Carroll, she's the Georgia 4-H Curriculum Specialist. She worked on this curriculum with me as well. She just was unable to be here today. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to do a little bit of an overview of this passport, which is the stress edition of Passport to a Healthier You. We're going to talk about how we implemented it at the state and national implementation, talk about some evaluation data, our lessons learned, and then a little bit of a curriculum overview. So this is a snapshot of the passport itself. It is a workbook that has 3 different series lessons. The first one is Stressed Out, where we just talk about what stress is. The second lesson is Stress Busters, where we talk about managing stress. And then the last lesson is Help to Better Living, which starts to talk about nutrition and physical activity. And probably one of the biggest draws that we had with the youth was that it was an actual physical passport that they got to get a stamp after they went through each lesson. And if any of you, of course, a lot of us work with youth, every youth loved this sticker. It was like a huge draw to be able to complete the lessons and get your sticker. And this was a response to a needs assessment that we did here in Georgia. It was a needs assessment that involved all of our volunteers that we could reach, county agents, youth were involved in this, and it demonstrated a desire for mental health curriculum for middle school audiences specifically. It was mental health across the board, but really for the middle school audiences, 6th through 8th grade. And then throughout this, we did infuse the 4-H thriving model. If you're not familiar with that model, it's there on the screen, but just really focusing on that developmental context and helping you to thrive all the way through their life. So when we implemented this in Georgia, we actually did it at a weekend junior conference. And for us, this is an overnight weekend at Rock Eagle. And for many youth, this is their first experience at Rock Eagle, and maybe even their first experience away from home. So several stress factors that may come into play. We had about 619 middle school age youth that completed the curriculum, and we used 19 teens as teachers to lead this curriculum. And we did that through 3 45-minute sessions. And then there was an adult chaperone that was in each of the rooms to partner with the teens as teachers. For the national implementation, this occurred at the National 4-H Ignite Conference, which is a week-long event in Washington, D.C. with high school age youth. We had about 67 youth that completed the program and evaluations, and we did this over 2 60-minute sessions. So this was adult-led curriculum, so we could move through it a little bit faster. And then, of course, since they were high school age, it also moved a little faster. When we start to talk about the evaluation data, a couple of things that I would highlight. For the middle school age youth that went through the curriculum at junior conference, 100% of those participants reported that they could identify what matters most to them. So those things that they enjoy and those things that they like doing and what is important to them, they could identify it. 98% of the students were able to name at least 2 personal stressors in their life currently. 99% of the participants identified at least 2 healthy methods for managing the stress. Those 2 to me are very important, that not only could they name the personal stressors, but they could also talk about how to manage those stressors. 99% of the students understood that a nutrition label is a tool that they can use to make healthier choices. So we didn't take a deep dive into the nutrition label, but they did understand that it was a tool, and then we highlighted specific aspects of it that they can learn more about. The teens as teachers we also surveyed, so these were the teams that led the curriculum during that weekend conference, and 100% of them agreed that teaching at junior conference allowed them to increase their knowledge of stress management strategies and nutrition, build their confidence as a public speaker, and strengthen their problem-solving skills. So we always hope that things go perfectly, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. So they, a lot of them expressed emotions around being able to be flexible and bend as their plans needed to throughout teaching. We also surveyed the high school age youth at the Ignite conference, and 97% of those students were able to name at least 2 of the personal stressors, and then 97% also identified 2 healthy methods for managing stress. So again, being able to identify it and also do something about it. 92% of the participants reported a better understanding of how they spend their time. And some of these will make a little bit more sense when we start to talk about the passport. Some lessons learned. Of course, through each of these, we learned some different lessons. But one of the biggest things was we learned that it's applicable to both middle and high school age youth. And this was demonstrated through the knowledge gained through the evaluations. And we had positive responses from the adult chaperones that were in the rooms while both of the teens as teachers were teaching and the youth were learning. We did also learn that in the stress edition originally, there were 3 45-minute sessions, and that last lesson was just too rushed for them to get through. That was the nutrition and health to better living activity, and they just felt like it was just too much at the end of the third lesson. So we actually pulled that lesson out and changed that to just a generic overview of nutrition and talked more about the importance of sleep. And we moved the nutrition lesson into a nutrition passport, which will be another 3-lesson series, Passport to a Healthy Nutrition Edition. And we do share these lessons statewide, and so now counties deliver this on a county level. So let's take a little glimpse at the passport itself. These are screenshots from the pages of the passport. So the very first page, they draw a picture of themselves. And I usually had an example there because I'm pretty artistically challenged. So I just kind of gave them an example of like, it could be a stick figure, just whatever you feel that you look like. And that opens the conversation for them to start thinking about the things that are important to them, that they enjoy, that make you happy, and that cause you stress. So they start thinking about their personal things, and we do a little bit of think, pair, share, where they start to share those with their group. Because most of the time at these events, these are going to be youth that they're not typically with, and they could be from another county or anywhere across the state. Then as we move through this lesson, we start to talk about stress. And throughout all of these lessons, we don't frame stress as something that is just absolutely terrible. We just talk about it in a sense that it's going to happen at some point. It's a natural part of life. You're going to feel stress, whether that's at school, at home, wherever it may be. We just have to figure out how to manage that stress. So we talk about the physical signs of the signs of stress, excuse me. We talk about the physical, emotional, behavioral, and cognitive symptoms. And the one that we stress here is that this can look different from person to person. This one goes into stress busters. So we start to talk about different ways that you can bust your stress. This was a very popular activity where we talked about how they spend the hours in their day, which was very reflective in their evaluations. Talk about harmful ways to reduce stress, and then things that they should do to reduce stress. And then the last lesson moves into the health of better living. They start to talk about the 4-H pledge and how they say the 4-H pledge after every meeting, but what does it actually mean? And specifically that my health, the better living sign. And then we talk about physical activity and sleep. Sleep was a big one that started coming up and that we added into the new lessons so that they understand how many hours of sleep they should get a night and how that either can add to or help reduce your stress, and same with physical activity. Then we end with just a basic introduction to My Plate and the different food groups. And like I said, we really simplified this lesson for the stress edition and then opened it up to encourage people to do the nutrition edition lessons as well. And then here is a QR code to provide you with the opportunity if you'd like to see any of these lessons. They are adaptable and they are very script written. So these lessons are intended to be led by teens as teachers. Of course, you can teach them as well. But when you see the lesson plans, you're like, wow, this is really long, but it's because it's scripted. And due to the nature of the material, we wanted to make sure we were providing all the necessary information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina. Does anyone have a question for Christina? Okay. If you think of anything, drop it in the chat. Thanks again, Christina.
Thanks, Christina. And up next, we have Diane from Washington. And Diane, I thank you for being here. I can either share your slides or she's going to do it. Okay, great. And then just a reminder, everybody's been doing great on time. Jen is holding up a sign for at the 2-minute mark and the 1-minute mark.
And can you see my slide?
We can.
Okay, family and consumer science. So, good morning. As you all know, the family and consumer science uses a holistic framework, which is rooted in research and practice to help empower people to thrive at every stage of life. See, okay. Oops, sorry. Let's see what's going on. I'm just going to make you dizzy for a moment. Okay, so the field of family and consumer science is dedicated to advancing health and wellness in our communities. And we do this through a framework rooted in research and practice. The practice of family and consumer science has a variety of settings that we work in, not only academia, but also in community education and business and health services. And our content area is rather broad. We're kind of considered the jack of all trades. When it comes to different content areas, we practice everything from culinary arts to textiles, family finance to home design, food science, and child development. The scope and standards of extension consumer food science people blend science with the art of everyday living, focusing on innovative, sustainable, and socially responsible from a global perspective. Our core mission is improving the quality of life for individuals, families, and communities. My name is Diane Smith. I'm a faculty member at Washington State University Extension. I specialize in family and consumer science. And like most of us, I focus my work on the specific needs of my community that align with my interest in training. As a registered dietitian and community educator, I focus my research on aging, climate science, and promoting health and well-being. I am rather fortunate to work in Skagit County. It's located in the northwest corner of Washington State. It is renowned for the agricultural land. Sometimes it's referred to as Seattle's Garden. It's known for its tulip fields, blueberry and potato harvest, as well as the salmon runs that go along the Skagit River. I acknowledge the coastal Salish people who live in the Salish Sea Basin throughout the San Juan Islands and the North Cascades watershed. Their stewardship and care for the land have shaped this remarkable landscape and deserve my deepest respect and gratitude. My work is rooted in understanding our shared lands, requiring enduring care and protection for the well-being of this generation and the future generations. In my presentation today, I will share assessment tools and resources that I use in my work in aging, climate stewardship, and health and wellness. Aging. Experts confirm that the demographic transformation dubbed as the Gray Tsunami is no longer a future event. It is actively reshaping our society today. Statistics show that the population in the U.S. is aging, to the point where in 2025, there were 62 million Americans aged 65 and older, representing 18% of the total population. This group grew by 13% between 2020 and 2024. This is outpacing all other groups, and we now have a record high average age in the United States of 39 years. Several states, such as Maine, Vermont, and Florida, have more older adults than children, which indicates a shift not only in the national but also the regional area. The population aged 80 and above is expected to be 15 million by 2025, nearly doubled in the next decade. This word cloud describes some of the concerns associated with growing old. This word, mental health, is a vital aspect of wellness for older adults, yet it's frequently overlooked in comparison to physical health. Many of the senior barriers accessing appropriate and affordable mental health care is compromised and can impact the quality of life as they age. FCS faculty is challenged, and we recognize these challenges and we promote strategies to support emotional well-being. Let's see. One of the resources that I use in my programming is from the National Council on Aging. It connects mental health to the broader framework of aging well through these 6 pillars that emphasize behavioral health, social connectedness, physical health, and purposeful living. Its guidance links mental health to every aspect of holistic well-being in later life. Mental health is deeply woven through these 6 pillars. Each domain addresses the needs: sleep, nutrition, activity, and connection. Depression, anxiety, and cognitive impairment often overlap in aging. Thus, strengthening every pillar supports the emotional balance and mental clarity for older Americans. As I said, I wanted to share the assessment tools that we use. In the National Council of Aging, there is a well-being assessment that provides a reliable snapshot of key elements of aging well. It emphasizes that holistic view and includes mental health as a critical component. It assesses the important elements of well-being and uses the survey based on Cantrell's ladder of life evaluation. This ladder is a validated tool developed in 1965 and is among one of the first self-evaluation measures of well-being. Cantrell's ladder measures thriving, struggling, and suffering. It's been proven exceptionally sensitive to external events such as the Great Recession and COVID-19. This survey can be self-administered in person, by phone, or online, and can be used alone or alongside other surveys. The results are scored and categorized in terms of thriving, surviving, and suffering. In Skagit County, as well as in the surrounding areas, we did use this survey with the accountable communities of health. The assessment helped us to understand the quality of life that older Americans are experiencing. We identified needed resources, and we are monitoring the progress of their situation. The value of this is it does highlight the areas where mental health and social emotional support are most needed. The resources that we use are from the National Council of Aging, and they have materials that can support your work as you're serving this population. The next area of my work is in climate science or climate crisis. My work in sustainable food systems has led me to lead a role in climate education. WSU supports a resilient Washington and has initiated a climate steward program based on the University of California model. This fall, 18 community members joined a cohort to learn about climate science and improve climate literacy. The Yale opinion poll found that 75% of Americans believe in climate change, yet only 25% talk about it. Our Climate Steward program helps prepare folks to talk about climate crisis in a productive way by improving climate vocabulary and using smart communication strategies such as framing, active listening, use of metaphors when talking about climate. In class discussions, we recognize people are experiencing climate change in profound ways. There is difficult social and emotional experiences that require some effort to consciously engage with climate change. Our curriculum addresses the need to increase awareness and sensitivity to the reactions of others as we foster a stronger community and increased resilience. We are just beginning to understand how climate change affects mental health and its increasing concern. For example, people may experience climate anxiety over an uncertain future. A national survey found that 75% of Americans worry about climate change. In particular, people between the ages of 18 to 34 express more anxiety. Grief from environmental destruction and loss of green space are also concerns. Direct impacts of an extreme weather event can cause psychological trauma. The assessment and resource tool that we use in discussing this is the climate emotional wheel that can help people identify emotions regarding the climate crisis so that they're more aware and more able to understand and navigate these feelings. Emotion wheels have been a visual tool used by psychologists for decades to help people understand and interpret their own feelings. This particular wheel was developed by Panu Pikala at the University of Helsinki. Interestingly, positive emotions are not typically identified in most research as often as other emotions on this wheel. The wheel is not intended to be a comprehensive, definitive resource, and it is not a scale, but it does provide a reader some understanding about their emotions and strategies to navigate them through the climate crisis concerns. As you can see, the wheel is divided into 4 categories: anger, sadness, fear, and positivity. Each emotion is defined and accompanied by a key question that will help the individual respond skillfully. For example, with fear, you might experience panic, anxiety, worry. The guiding questions in the reference book will ask questions such as, how do I slow down and take time to cope? Or how can I calm down and balance urgency with effective responses? As practitioners in this community of practice, I think this visual can be a useful tool in initiating climate conversations.
Hey, Diane, I just want to give you a heads up. We're pushing on a little over 8 minutes now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. The second tool that I wanted to share was this a motivating activity that is defining their purpose to help people define their purpose around climate change. This Venn diagram is a useful way of looking at what brings joy, what we're good at, and what needs to be done. For example, for myself, my climate action is in food waste prevention. What brings me joy? Cooking and teaching. What am I good at? Cooking and teaching. And what does the world need? They need to reduce food waste. And so through this climate action, through developing this understanding of what brings me joy and what I'm good at, I can create my climate action. FCS strategies for climate resilience is in promoting sustainable systems. And so reaching out to your family and consumer science staff can help in working with mental health issues around climate crisis. And these are some of the resources that are available that are bring balance to one's mental health. And then the third strategy that, or the third resource that I use is on wellness in general. This is an extension tool, the Wellness Wheel, that was developed by Michelle Kroll at the University of New Hampshire. It's a 5-scale self-administered online course or online tool. By using this, an individual can identify their strengths, and then there are strategies to address the weaknesses and strengths that are identified in this tool. Wellness is an important piece of what family and consumer science offers to the community. And as members of this community of practice, our expertise and engagement are crucial for advancing health and wellness in our changing world. So by working together to empower families, sharing resources and promoting mental and physical well-being throughout our communities, we can make a difference. Your voice and ideas and collaboration can drive positive change. So let's stay connected. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Diane, for sharing some of the work that you're doing in Washington. We went a little over, so for time's sake, we'll just have you all put questions in the chat. And with that, I will introduce our next speaker. So we have Anda, Andy, and Amira from California. And I am happy to share the screen unless one of you wants to do that. I'm totally fine with that.
I can share the screen. Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. Yeah. And are you guys seeing the screen okay?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Hi, everyone. It's really good to be with you all. I'm going to kick it off for the three of us. Thank you for giving us this chance to share with you about our collaboration on mental health and well-being. We've titled it Building Bridges, a resource linking physical health, nutrition, and mental wellness, created by Cooperative Extension, healthcare, and community partners. Next slide. I'm Amira Resnick from UC A&R, our land-grant university out in California. I work as our statewide director, community nutrition and health, and I've been collaborating for a few years now with Anda Ko, who's a co-presenter, professor of pediatrics from UCSF. And we've also been working closely with Andy, who you just met, and he'll speak in just a few moments, who's the president and founder of Hillcrest Advisory. So we're the ones sharing the presentation today. Next slide. Today, we're hoping to share with you about the cross collaboration we have within our UC institutions. We want to explore the role and the value we've found in this cross-sector collaboration and creating mental health resources specifically, and also share some collaborative strategies for integrating this expertise to create those resources. Next slide. So just sharing a bit about our organization and our collaboration. We are featuring here our Community Nutrition and Health Network of academics across the state of California. Those with their photos shown are the ones that have actively participated in our collaboration with UCSF on the broad theme of health equity, which we'll share a little bit more with you about with Anda. And then in the top right corner, we have our what we call specialists who cover statewide and often do multi-state work as well. Next slide. So we've been collaborating, as I mentioned, for a few years with a theme of health equity. And this was a vision that our institution saw a ton of opportunity for the expertise we have through Cooperative Extension to be combined and in collaboration with UCSF medical professionals in order to enhance all of our collective efforts to deliver evidence-based health information across the state. Next slide. And I'll pass it over to Anda. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Amira. So over the past 3 years, we've been learning about each other's organizational culture, structure, strengths, and opportunities to really take advantage of this collaboration. And we just wanted to highlight briefly our iterative process. So together we identify priority health topics where we think we can have the most impact leveraging each other's unique strengths. And for each priority health topic, we identify expertise within our teams and amongst our institutional colleagues and partner with our community council's wisdom. We then identify opportunities that we have to fill a gap or a need to improve community well-being. And this is generally through the co-development of specific resources and strategies. And you can see that although this is a simple diagram, it is an iterative process that took us a little while to work out, but is working really well. Our next slide. This is a list of our current priority health topics, and you can see that we have a UC&R UCSF project team for each priority. And in the second column, you'll see the resource or strategy each project team has identified as a community need and is working on together. In the interest of time, we're going to focus this on the mental health project teamwork, and I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Andy Krakow, to share more specifics.
Thank you, Anda. So yeah, I'm going to drill down and talk about the work we've been doing in mental health. There's been a team of about 8 of us, and it really brings a lot of diverse experience. Pediatricians from UCSF, folks, of course, from UCANR. I bring some experience in design and visualization. We've met roughly monthly with some work taking place between meetings, and our specific focus is on how mental well-being, physical activity, and nutrition are closely linked. That's the information that we're trying to convey. Um, and so I want to share with you a few ways that we've been doing that we've been disseminating such information. The first is a webinar, Stress Busters. That's a name that sounds familiar to us. I know, Christina, you had talked about this as well. In our context, this actually came from work that was being done as part of a California initiative associated with screening for and treating ACEs. And a pediatrician who had taken deep responsibility for creating a curriculum regarding stress busters as it relates to ACEs, came and talked to a large group of us, advisors, health educators. I think there were even people from beyond California, and provided some good material regarding this curriculum that had been developed. You are welcome to visit it. It's on there. It's online through ACEs Aware, and the link is right there. And if you don't catch it in time, we can send you the link as well. So providing this kind of education to professionals is part of what we've been doing. In addition, we created a resource catalog. And again, our focus is on the connections between mental wellness to nutrition and physical activity. And so we put together a resource catalog focusing on that. We had an intern actually support us with this. This catalog, again, it's out there, it's available to you. It's got about roughly 30 practical tools, academic studies, educational material that health educators anywhere can use to inform their community work. A lot of the information that's provided are coming from the kinds of things that all of you know about and offer anyway. So they're coming from national resources as well as what's in California specifically. But we also recognize that we really need to get something out there and offer material that can be used directly by people across the state, not just health educators. And so we created, or actually are creating, because this is still very much in process, a visual illustration summarizing how mental well-being, nutrition, and physical activity are interrelated. The idea is that this can be used by health educators in the classes they give, and presentations, whatever the case may be. This is going to link off to a web page with further explanation, and we are going to offer it. I'll show you momentarily. We offer it in both English and Spanish. Now, we realize that we can't do this work in a vacuum. So we have established a community advisory committee that serves all of the work groups that Anda noted, not just the mental health work group. And it's composed of 14 community members representing 9 of our counties in California. Many of them are current or former participants in FNEP or CalFresh Healthy Living. And the community advisory committee was established to ensure that we can have that community voice. So in creating our illustration, we asked this advisory committee for input on our illustration, actually on 3 occasions. They advised on language, design choices, icons and colors, those kinds of things for design choices, and ways we can disseminate this. In fact, we had our most recent meeting with them last night and asked for their input. So you can see that, we shared with them version 1. We got some good input from them. They had some good guidance and provided us feedback that has led to essentially where we're at right now. And you can see the English version and the Spanish language version of that. Like I said, it's still very much in process. That about summarizes it. Sarah, yeah, we can definitely post the links. No worries about that. I'll put them in the chat. I also want to give you all our contact information. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question? Okay, we're ready to move on to Maddie. Thank you all so much.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Perfect. Hopefully everybody can see that. Hi, my name's Maddie Vanderkoy. I am the Western Regional Agricultural Stress Assistance Partnership Program Coordinator here at WSU Skagit County Extension. So I work with Diane, and I've also seen quite a few of our network partners on this call today. So hi, how are you? And I will say the past couple of times I've presented on Pizza for Producers for us West Coast and Central people. It's right before lunch, so I apologize for that. So you might get a little hungry. So to avoid that, I'm going to be mostly talking about obviously the program itself, and I'll try to minimize the talk about pizza. So you guys don't go hungry. So Pizza for Producers is a community-based mental wellness program with Comet training, which I will explain in this presentation. So before going into Pizza for Producers, I want to talk about RASP, so the Western Region Ag Stress Assistance Partnership. We work with farmers, ranchers, and also other agricultural professionals to share resources about stress and mental health, conduct trainings, and reduce farm stress in agricultural communities. So that's just a little overview. RASP is kind of like the big umbrella, and under the umbrella, we have different programs. So Pizza for Producers, as well as our network partners, which are in this regional map. So we have a partner in just about every state and territory. Usually through land grant universities, so extension agents, and then also some other nonprofits through our hotline services. So currently, Pizza for Producers is spreading to quite a few states. So we started the first one in Washington back in 2023, I believe. And they've since moved to California, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and then they're also developing in Arizona as well. So we're very excited about spreading the program and also moving into the central region as well of the country. So we're looking forward to spreading some good food and the need. So I'm sure most of you are aware, working in extension, agriculture is a very unique occupation. I come from a dairy farming background, so I have kind of a real lived experience that goes into the passion of this work. So there's a lot of uncontrollable factors that go into working in ag. So big one being the weather. There's lots of factors that we can't control when we're harvesting or tending to our livestock. So because of these unique stressors and environments that farmers are living in, there's increase in stress, which can lead to an increase in suicides. So according to the CDC, around 37 out of 100,000 farmers will commit suicide per year, which, you know, when you read that statistic, 37 out of 100,000 might not sound like a lot to someone who doesn't come from a suicide prevention background. But compared to a 16 out of 100,000 across all other industries, we are now more than double for suicide rates. So in this, also to add another layer, farmers and farm workers only make up about 2% of the population of the United States. So this is a very high suicide rate for a very small amount of people who are working in it. And also to add another layer, farming and farms are trending downward for the next few years. So we're trying to develop programs. I'm telling you this because we are developing programs to try and help move that meter and get people together, because we know isolation is a huge contributing factor to suicide. So Pizza for Producers was designed to kind of bring those people back together. So our lovely partners at Montana State University, who presented at the beginning of this call, talked about some of our baseline data research and collection that they led at the beginning of the RASP program. So from that, we divided it from producer or farm owners and also farm workers to get that data. So a lot of them perceived on the perceived stress scale scored a medium to high level of stress, the majority of them. And then they broke that down further to break it out by stressors. So you can see the top of them: workload, lack of time, financial worries, which are pretty predictive, I would say. And then also work-family balance, legislative issues, production costs. So there's programs that we've developed throughout the region that can help with kind of those financial controllable factors such as financial worries. We have a ag economist service that runs out of Washington State University that will sit down and go over your books with you, help you do your taxes, all that good stuff. So those kind of things, we can create programs to fix and help support farmers in that area. But these more lifestyle stressors are a little bit more challenging. I'm sure most of you can agree to design programs to kind of draw people to these programs that are traditionally more isolated, behaviorally wise. So for things like workload, lack of time, and then work-family balance, that's kind of why we've developed Pizza for Producers to address those issues. You can see on the farm worker side of things, we saw very similar results, a little bit more vocational. So working extreme temperatures, we partnered with AgriSafe. They do a lot of great farm trainings, safety trainings. But we're seeing the same things, working long hours, lack of time, and then that lack of work-family balance. So we're trying to develop programs that, balance and are useful for both farmers and farm workers. So we developed Pizza for Producers, and basically it is a initiative that invites farmers and farm workers to gather around a wood-fired oven to learn the art of crafting pizza from scratch. So the focus is on eating pizza and eating delicious food. The true aim is to foster a sense of community and address the mental health challenges prevalent in the agricultural industry. We also incorporate comment, which is changing our mental and emotional trajectory. If I had more time, I would love to go farther in depth in it, but I can also provide more information in the chat. It was developed by Colorado State University, and it's kind of a cognitive behavioral approach to being that other person for someone. So you see this spectrum of wellness to crisis. And it's about being that other person to kind of pull that person back into a state of wellness. And they do that by providing a script for people and getting people used to having those conversations in an appropriate way. So it's really useful. We really find it beneficial in agricultural communities because it's pretty user-friendly and non-invasive. So we've had a lot of great success with incorporating that into our Pizza for Producer events. We recently just had an event in Skagit County, about 10 minutes away from my office. We had about 100 people in attendance, and we've been partnering with existing events to draw bigger crowds. And we also just have great conversations. So there's some pictures of the event, which was really well attended, and had some great conversations about farm stress and also just life in agriculture. We also realized that an extension program data and evaluation is super important. So our friends at Montana State University put together, kind of pulled some pieces from our post surveys, qualitative and quantitative. So you can kind of take a look through these. I would love to go into detail, but we're out of time, it almost looks like. So the majority of them, for the qualitative side, you can read through them. The pizza was a hit, which is great because I'm the one making them. So I like to see that. But also, you can see the majority of them talked about community building and the benefit of connecting with people in a shared space. So it was good to see because that's what we're aiming for is kind of a sense of community and allowing farmers to have that time to network and share resources. Positive. We don't want to make it all negative, surrounded about negative, but share that positive, what's going good in the farming community, and then also sharing resources to help for some of the challenges in the agricultural community. There's our link to our website. It's just pizzaforproducers.com. We've got statewide events happening this year. Our next one in Washington is going to be February 6th here in Skagit County. We have them, they're popping up quite a bit all over the place. You can rent our pizza oven if you're located around us. It's a big steel welded pizza oven. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to foster community and get people together. If you have questions, I'd be happy to take them. There's my contact info. I can also put it in the chat if you have any additional questions. So I will stop there.
Thanks so much, Maddie. Does anyone have a question for Maddie? Hey, rounding us out is Gail.
Okay, thanks so much, Maddie. Great to see you. I'm the last presenter. We scheduled me in just in case people we went over and I could drop off, but we're not too bad schedule-wise. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that okay? You guys see my screen? Can somebody unmute and say yes?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
Yay, thank you. All right, everybody. Well, I will round us off by talking about one of the programs I do here in Flagstaff to support community mental health. So the name of my talk is Integrating the Practice of Horticultural Therapy into Extension Mental Health Programs, and I am Gail Gradup. You know that I'm with U of A, and I am a registered horticultural therapist. What's exciting about HT and Extension is that it actually is growing. There are more and more people that I'm meeting from across the country who are getting trained as in the practice of horticultural therapy or therapeutic horticulture. Actually, Allison, who is on the call with us from Montana, she is wrapping up the program that I went through the Horticultural Therapy Institute in Denver, Colorado. I was just at the American Horticultural Therapy Association annual conference over the weekend, and I connected with folks from Illinois, Clemson, Rutgers, Colorado State, Tennessee, and Wisconsin, all extension, who are integrating this work into their program. So, what is horticultural therapy? We go through a lot of training to learn how to deliver this type of programming, and it is very interdisciplinary. That's what I love. My background is actually in hort. But I am the FCS agent here in Coconino County. So it's a, I love it. It's definitely fits my background, suits my background well. So horticultural therapy is the guided participation in plant-based activities to achieve specific therapeutic goals. And basically improves lives by connecting people with plants. It's facilitated by a registered horticultural therapist, and activities are integrated into a structured treatment, rehabilitation, or vocational plan, depending on who you are serving. Underneath a big umbrella of hort therapy, there are three major program models. Of course, there's always some interlap with these, but basically, the first is rehabilitative, where you are working with folks to help them regain skills or abilities that they've typically lost due to injury or diagnosis. And this is more in a clinical setting. I don't really do this type of work, but there are people who are working alongside occupational and physical therapists in hospital settings doing this work. For us in Extension, the wellness and vocational or slash pre-vocational model work better with us. So with wellness, you're basically just improving overall physical and mental health, and that's what we're doing a lot with a majority of our programs. And then there's a vocational or pre-vocational arm where we're helping our clients develop job skills in something that's meaningful, like growing plants. What separates out horticultural therapy from just gardening programs is that we are documenting everything that we do, which we are very used to in extension. So you do an assessment in the beginning with your community partners, whoever you're working with, to develop your long-term programmatic goals, and then you are meeting those, reaching those goals through measurable session objectives. So your activities that you're doing with your clients, and then of course what we're recording helps us lead to our outcomes and impacts that we can report out in our program evaluation. So I am, I've been doing horticultural therapy for about 5 years now here in Flagstaff. And one program that I have that is ongoing is at Ponderosa High School, which is our accommodation school for the county. So a lot of kids here have experienced trauma. They've been displaced from their homes. And with that, they have inconsistent credits. So the school works with them to get them their degree. They often live with people other than their parents. Sometimes they've been expelled. They have issues with substance use. They're incarcerated or on probation, or sometimes there are learning disabilities here. So all of our activities help us reach our goals and objectives. They change with each cohort, so I won't go into that for time's sake. But basically, when we all start out, we develop a production schedule together. So the kids are talking about what they want to grow. And then that way they're taking ownership of their program and they're seeing something from start to finish. And with that, they're raising the plants the entire time. And they are gaining a sense of responsibility by caring for living things. And then here we are with our connection to nature. With the plant sale, so this is an 8-week program, and we are growing specifically for the Master Gardener plant sale. So we're on a strict schedule. When we are planning for the plant sales, the kids are developing business skills, and if they grew the tomatoes and they're taking care of the tomatoes, they are the experts about tomatoes. And at the plant sale, which we pay them to go to, because it's after school gets out, you can really see their self-esteem growing because even if they're very withdrawn in the beginning of the programs. By the time the plant sale comes, they are the expert and they cannot stop talking about the tomatoes that they grew. Um, we've made some major improvements and accomplishments. We started with equipment that we built from uh, stuff that we got from Habitat from Humanity, but luckily we've had some philanthropic gifts that have supported us upping our game. We're doing all of this in the classroom. So here are all the plants that the kids are growing, and here's a picture of the plant sale from just this year. Um, we have had 3 9-week programs delivered since 2023, reaching 26 students around 16 to 18 years old. If they are participating and meeting those session objectives that we've set out, then they get something tangible. So a certificate of completion from the program from Coconino County Cooperative Extension. 15 students have been hired to take care of summer gardens with our partner Terra Birds here in town. So far, we have grown over 1,000 plants and $5,000 in revenue. 524 pounds of produce have been donated to the Flagstaff Family Food Center. And in 2025, the produce that was grown from plants that didn't get sold and get planted out in school gardens went to produce. And we have 36 hours of volunteer time donated. Here are some impact statements. I like this class because growing the plants is relaxing. This is my favorite class because I really like coming to school and caring for the plants and watching them grow. I never thought I would be good at anything, but I'm good at this. My mom thinks I can't do anything, but I grew all of these plants. I was going to drop out of this school, but I think I will get my diploma or GED so I can go to the community college that teaches horticulture. So what's next? Allison mentioned my Master Wellness volunteer program that I have going on here. I had horticultural therapy or therapeutic hort as one of the modules, and I'm hoping to do more publication and research to promote this practice in extension and integrate validated tools. And that's it.
Thank you, Gail. Gail, we have one question for you in the chat. Well, a couple of questions. Do you want to answer that?
Tell me do you want me to read it or do you want to read it to
I
me?
can read it. Yeah. Could you give an example of what a mental health objective that you're tracking might sound like?
Self-esteem was one of them that we had. Um, the others were connecting with nature, increasing attention span. Like I said, they've changed, and I think that one way to really solidify what we're doing with mental health would be to look into those validated tools to try to measure all of that.
I do know that you have to be a certified horticultural therapist to lead this program. That's correct.
Kind of. I mean, Allison can speak to it too. There's some loopholes. So the American Horticultural
Mm,
Therapy Association would like to see everybody become registered and have that credential like what I have. But I mean, that does take a lot of time and a lot of training. So you heard me interchange hort therapy and therapeutic horticulture. So yes, having some training, just the certificate is good enough to do therapeutic horticulture, but if you're saying that you're doing horticultural therapy, then they want that credential behind you. It's
great.
confusing.
Let's see. Curious how many people are partnering with mental health, healthcare providers, and local public health. And I think that's to the whole group. And so if you are doing that, please go ahead and put it in the chat. And then Jen, I think that that's it. We're on to your closing.
Great. I have a quick poll for y'all, and it's basically because, we all have to do civil rights. Um, so please fill out these demographic questions. Um, Another thing I want to mention, and I will share this with the with all presenters so they can also do their civil rights demographic stuff that we all have to do for extension. Um, this has been amazing. Gail and Jen, oh my gosh, y'all are amazing for doing this. But I also want to say y'all can do this too. Everyone can do this. Everyone can contribute and figure out what you think colleagues want to hear or what you want to share. So if y'all have any ideas, that would be great. And just share ideas on what you want the next meetings to look like. This is amazing. Betsy Garrison said, what about embedding in Master Gardener programs or Master Naturalist programs too? I know like there's a lot of mental health with Master Gardener and Master Naturalist programs.
Jen, can I do a quick ask? And we're going to do something similar. If you all are aware of every FCH agent or ag agent out there doing this kind of work, making real impact in their communities, particularly rural settings, if you would like to showcase them like we just did today, please let us know because that's our next our hope is to have and showcase agents' good work in the mental health and well-being arena. So please email Jen your suggestions and I'll curate a similar program for the next time. And I'll be bringing in 3 agents from AgriLife Extension. And I'd like to showcase all of yours as well. So please let us know. Is that okay, Jen?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's so many great comments out here. Like, Michelle said in Montana, we partner with our state and local public health programs. I mean, y'all should look at the chats and see if there's anything as presenters you want to address. Also, if you fill out Jen Parlin's survey, they also ask about like, Jen, what else do you, I forgot. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
No, you're totally fine. It's only 3 questions and it's multiple choice. The last question is just to see if this was interesting to you all and if you would like to see more lightning talks in the future. I think we all have amazing programs to share, and you only heard about a few of them today, but we have a wide network on this community of practice. And so if you are interested in that, let us know.
Also want to mention that our first one of not one our first, but our last one before this, the one before this, we did small group discussions, and that went really well too, I think. So any topic, whether lightning talk, small group discussions, if y'all want to spend an hour and a half talking about recipes that we really like,